All right, let's do it. Three, two, one. Hey guys, what's going on? And welcome to episode 230 of the KBMOD podcast. It is April 3rd, 2016, not April 1st. Thank God.
That day is over.
Yes, I could. I'm so happy it is. But we will be discussing some fallouts actually from that a little bit later. But Brandon, we were talking about this a little bit in the pre-show. But can you tell people how, if they listen to every single cast that we've had 230 episodes. That's a lot of content. Brandon, you crunched some numbers.
Yeah. I did some very complex formulas.
I thought that was interesting
to figure this out.
Yes,
but I think on average our casts are around 2 hours or so. Sometimes they're actually a little longer, maybe sometimes a little shorter. But our 230 casts is roughly 19 straight days of content. So you could just download them all, or watch them on YouTube or whatever, and you could just hit play, and you could just sit there for 19 days, and then you finally hit the end.
Exactly.
That's remarkable.
So then that puts a lot of things in perspective. 19 days of our lives spent. I mean that's actually not the only KBMOD related stuff, obviously, but that's just podcast alone.
Yeah, just think about it. We've just we haven't been on every single cast, but
true.
But Scott and I have been on a lot of them. And even
I
mean, even at this point, like Brad is fairly new to the cast, and he's already probably been on for 10, 12, maybe more hours. The hours. I mean, this takes a toll on your body.
It does, exactly, and that's exactly why I'm overweight because I've been on this podcast. It's taken a toll. I tend to binge eat, but. No, but I thought that was well. Thank you, Brandon. I thought that was interesting. Katie Zen's not here this week. He has some stuff going on, so he will be missed, at least by me. I don't know about you guys, but I always miss Katie Zen. I like him.
We'll see.
I love Katie because he is truly just like I said it last week, and I said it the week that he didn't know what fucking Wendy's or that he thought fondue was something that Wendy's came up with. He is just malleable clay for us to work with.
He brings that childlike wonder.
He does.
That I feel we Scott and I have lost, and I think Brad is Brad should have that wonder because he's still young enough.
Yeah.
But I think he's still he's already seeing the seedy underbelly of the world.
He has. Brad, how old are you? I forget how old you are.
23.
23. Yeah. So for somebody that's 23, he has way less than anybody his age should. Just because I agree of everything that he's seen. I don't know, Brad. Yeah, I don't think of you as somebody that has that childlike wonder. I feel like, not that you should anymore either, because you've dealt with a lot of stuff.
He's seen a lot for his years already. Whereas, Katie Zen he's like, I don't know. Well, he's just younger. He's younger. He hasn't been out in the world, and man, he's just discovering fondue, discovering all sorts of new things.
Laser in the chat saying you can get a 2-man sports aircraft pilot's license in 2 weeks, or you can talk about video games on the internet. There you go. Another thing that occurs in 2 weeks.
That's right.
I think talking and listening to people talk about video games.
There's a lot you could do with your life with actual 14 to 19 days. We're talking actual human days, not not where you go to work 8 hours a day.
Right.
We're talking actual human days. You could probably become an expert in something in 3 straight weeks of time, or you could listen to all the KBMOD podcasts.
Or become an expert on literally nothing and hear people talk about their opinions and things on the internet, which is fun.
You could hear multiple uninformed people talk about things that probably aren't relevant.
Exactly.
We kind of bring this up because I noticed today somebody had commented on our YouTube channel saying 100 episodes down, 100 and some to go. And I just, that's amazing. And if any of you guys want to just go back and poke a couple episodes, we have a YouTube channel, and you can go to kbmod.com and look at our podcast category.
We really need a historian. Whoever's doing that, whoever's going through back all of the old podcast episodes, we need a historian to tell us what the funny stuff is. I would love to go back and listen to some of the funny sections of old podcasts, but then I think about the fact that it's 19 days of content, and I just know
a lot to sort.
I'll never go through it until maybe I'm I'm retired or something, and I literally have nothing to do. Maybe I'll do it then.
God, and get emotional about all of us that have already passed, Brandon, because you'll be the last remaining one alive at 96, looking back and being like, wow. I was
Yeah.
so young and spry. I thought my luster for life was gone at that current age, and look at me at 96. Like,
I mean, I guess the longer we do this cast, the longer it'll keep going. So like, who knows? We're not done. We could, by the time I get to listening to it, we could have like a year's worth of content. I mean, who knows?
It's true. Exactly. So anyway, just some numbers there and some perspective. I thought it's good. Yeah, and 230, man. 230 episodes. So so what's been going on this week with both of you? What anything exciting to share? Not video game related. We got a lot of video game stuff to talk about, but I thought we'll open up with that as per usual.
I didn't really have much going on this week. I had I actually played more games this week than I have in probably the past couple months. I think just because we've in the past like month and a half, I've had like 2 weddings to go to. We moved to a new place. Like there was just every weekend was just something new, and we're finally in a couple weeks where there's like nothing going on. And so my goal for this weekend, these were actual things I was thinking to myself as like, here's my goal. My goal is to get to level 30 in the division, and I went way past that.
Oh, I saw your tweet of the hours you put in the division.
Yeah, I was actually.
It was like 4 a.m. when I saw that.
I thought that was a pretty good tweet. I was sad that like the only time you can post a tweet like that is in the middle of the night when no one's on Twitter. Because I was like, this is funny. This is a funny tweet. But no, that was like all I did yesterday, and so that was like one of my goals. My other goal was to play the Doom beta, mainly so that we could like talk about it on the cast, and and I wanted to see how it was. So that was my other goal, is like play some of that, get familiar with that, and finish Daredevil. And those are like my 3 weekend goals. And I'm 1 episode away from finishing Daredevil. So I will, by the end of this weekend, I will have completed the things that I set out to do.
That's impressive.
So you got to set goals for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, especially when it comes to gaming, if you're, if you have a job and are a busy person like Brandon.
Yeah, so. I feel like it makes it more enjoyable, and it makes it where I actually like play games. If I have a goal to reach, like I'm more likely to play the game, and I think that's why. I mean, we've talked about this before, but like playing a game like The Witcher, where I know that you can sink hundreds of hours into it. If I don't have any like specific goal or something I'm trying to accomplish when I play, I'll end up just stopping games like that because I just can't stay in that mindset of like I'm just meandering throughout the game. I gotta I only have a few hours unless it's the weekend, and then like maybe I have a little more time to play. So yeah, that's the way I game now more and more. It's like I wanna get in this many games, or I want to get to this level or whatever, and I did that this weekend. So I'm pretty proud of myself actually.
Very nice. Okay. I'm trying to think if I had anything insane outside of gaming happen, and not particularly, but Brad, because I want to jump into all the game. I mean, we got to talk about Brandon putting that much time into the division. I got to hear about what he thinks about the later game. But what about you, Brad? Besides your transition into a feline,
Brad, would you mind looking at the camera? Like, I feel like it's a little disrespectful that we're on a cast with with people watching, and you're not even looking at the camera. You look like you couldn't be bothered to even be here.
Yeah.
Just look at me. Look at me.
I mean, I'm looking.
Just look at me.
For the audio listeners, Brad has the camera on his cat right now, and his cat. It's actually hard to tell what the cat feels at the moment, but it's that smug, that smug look.
Oh, Brad, that is, what? That is you. I can see it. I can see it in your eyes. Yeah, that it is still you, even though you're a feline now.
I've gained a little weight.
Yeah.
But you know what? I just got done with winter. It's a little cold out here in Oregon still.
That's the other thing. The weather's been weird. Like it's supposed to be like spring, and then today it's like 37 degrees or something here, and there was snow when I woke up.
I saw that.
What is happening? Like, also the Pittsburgh winter thing. Like, we had one occasion that it was like there were 7 inches on the ground, and that was it. The rest, there was nothing. Like, it was like the lightest winter I could have ever imagined. I'm a little pissed.
Yeah, you just got back there.
Yeah,
and you don't get the good winter that they're known for.
Nothing. Everyone's like, hell, you just wait till the Pittsburgh winter, and then global warming just was like, fuck off.
Do they all talk like that? Does everyone talking about the weather?
All the Yinzers, all the Yinzers talk like that. Yeah. But
Not
Okay.
much has been going on with me though. I started my last term of college, and then it better be my last term. And then I went to go see some waterfalls this weekend. Got the camera out, and that
Oh,
was kind of it.
nice. I did
Played some
experience
games.
nature actually today. Actually, there is. This is not honestly a plug for a video on my YouTube channel, but I did record basically. I was out in nature, and actually, in all seriousness, I don't
It
get
was
out
a
in nature
documentary.
often,
I watched
so
it.
a bit of a doc, a bit of a doc. But yeah, it was fun. It was nice to be outside. It was cool, but as in weather-wise, but with a jacket, and it was good. See the babbling brook, hear the crowing crow, hear the chirping frog. I don't know if I haven't been out in nature for a while, so again, might not have all those identified properly, but it was a good time. All right, well, let's talk about what we've been playing then, Brandon. Hit me. Okay, so you've been playing the Division. You played some Doom. We've all been playing Doom, so we'll talk about that too a little
Yeah.
bit later. What's going on with the Division, man? Has this got you hooked? Like, is it got your Diablo,
Yeah.
taste or whatever going, or what?
It kind of it does. I don't know how much longer it will last because it feels so like playing through the division. It is Diablo. Like it is actually. I am 100% confident. And that's not a bad thing, by the way. But I am so confident that in the walls of the Ubisoft offices where they were coming up with that idea, they said, "Look, what if we did Diablo?" But we did it in like a shooter in post-apocalyptic New York, because that's what it is. Like there's a feature in the division that allows you to recalibrate a stat on your gear. When I was looking at that, like it literally looks the exact same as Diablo. Like it is actually, that feature is like straight up ripped from Diablo. Even with like the it randomizes one quality on your gear. You can like it randomizes between certain things you can do. Like that feature is straight out of Diablo.
Yeah.
But like the game itself, I've really enjoyed. The leveling is fun. There's like just that feeling of you're always getting new gear that's like way better than what you had before, and that's so much fun. Like when you're leveling, that's so much fun. Diablo the first time through is so fun because like you get a weapon, you'll like be grinding levels or whatever, and then you'll get a weapon that does like double the damage your current weapon does or something. Like you get those huge upgrades, and you're just always, you want to get out there and see like how powerful you are with that new stuff. So that's sort of how I felt with the division. I hit level 30. I got to level 30, and now I'm not like, so I tried the Dark Zone, which is like the PvP kind of area, and that's pretty cool. But I don't know that that's going to keep me hooked the way that the leveling did. But I've gotten like a little over 30 hours in it now. I mean, I've more than gotten my worth out of the game. It's just a question of if it's going to be like if I'm going to get another 30, and I'm not sure I will.
So somebody that doesn't play like grindy games like Diablo or just MMOs or something like that, like let's just say they're just really into FPSs, do you think they would still like it?
I mean, I think if you're into FPSs, so it's not, one thing is it's not a first person shooter. Like it's a third person shooter, which is, I don't know. I don't love the perspective of third person shooters necessarily. Like I prefer a first person shooter. I think it works well for this game. I mean, if you don't like grinding, I'm not sure this is a great game for you, just because the content, like the story, is sort of whatever. Like I think the world is very convincing. But the story itself is like kind of whatever. That's not the strongest point of the game. The atmosphere, the art, and everything I think is really strong. But I'm not sure the actual storyline really matters. I found myself just kind of like going through the motions of the cutscenes and stuff, not really caring too much about like the characters involved and whatever.
Right, just no attachment.
Yeah, I don't like. It's not a very memorable story. But the gameplay I think is really good. But I mean, it is a loot shooter. Like that's what it is, and it's mechanically it doesn't feel like Diablo, because obviously it's a third person shooter, and Diablo is like a top down ARPG. So they play very differently. But if you've played through Diablo, you will feel that same feeling where it's like you're getting new loot. You're spending half your time when you get back to base, going through your inventory and like trying to decide which of these two pieces
Which to
of
keep.
gear, yeah, is like a side grade, and which one you want to keep, and you need to like throw one away because you can't wear them both. Like all of those same things that you do in Diablo, you do in the Division. So yeah, it's like been a good experience. I think the question for me will sort of hinge on what more they add to it, because right now the end game, there's not really like end game stuff to do. The Dark Zone is interesting, but is not, I don't think is like going to keep people that engaged. But like enough, I mean, the Division sold well enough that I think they'll continue to do interesting content with it, and so I could see it being one of those games, sort of like Diablo is, frankly, where Diablo has like seasons, and every now and then I'll dive back into Diablo for 20 hours at a time. And I think the Division may be that same way. Like when they add something new, when they add something cool, you dive back into the Division. You get your feet wet again. You enjoy it, but then you take a few months break and you don't miss it. That's kind of what I see happening.
So, like, I haven't played the Division at all. So, are there different like classes as well, where like specific, kind of like Diablo, where you only certain weapons are really good for certain classes? Like, are there any classes for the Division?
Not really, but it's kind of similar in that you have like talents that you can assign, and so you have to kind of pick what you want to do. One of the talents is like a sticky bomb. One of them is a healing thing. There's different talents you can choose, and so like if you're playing with a group, you would probably want different talents than if you were soloing.
I see.
But it's not like the guns. I mean, you can use any gun you want, and you just kind of pick the one that has the best stats or the one that you're most comfortable with. So I think the variation is not the variation is there, but I haven't min-maxed anything in the Division the way that you very much min-max in Diablo. And so like I don't know, I'm sure the subreddit probably has people diving into the best stats for the gear and everything the same way that Diablo did.
Of course, yeah.
But I haven't dug into any of that stuff because I'm not sure that I'll stick with the game for that much longer. But I think it's like just given the time that I've played it, I think that is a good enough recommendation that like it was worth the money. And it's one of those games that I think I will come back to every now and then, and I think over time it will definitely have been worth the money. But if you don't love the way Diablo makes you feel, if you don't like grinding for loot, putting that loot on, and like feeling more powerful with each new piece of loot that you get, then it's probably not a game for you. But if you like the Diablo kind of grinding mentality, then I would say wholeheartedly it's a pretty good version of that set in New York with shooter elements.
I saw you playing with somebody on Discord the other night. So
Yeah.
is the experience much different, like with the party?
It is. So I happened upon a guy in Discord, one of our subscribers on the channel, and he was already I think level 30 plus in the Dark Zone.
Oh, okay.
So he was more experienced with the game, and I enjoy it more with a group. I think it's a lot more fun with a group of friends. If you have a group of friends, like the Division is, I think, a clear buy. Especially because when you get to the end game stuff, when you get to the PvP in the Dark Zone,
Right.
it's like basically when you have a group of 3 or 4, it's way more fun because you can choose to gank people. You can do all sorts of things, and you have less fear of just getting run over. So yeah, I think like the more people you have, the more fun it becomes. But it was a fun enough experience even solo. Like the base game until you hit 30 really to me feels like a single player / co-op game. There's not like it's not an MMO. It's not like a massive multiplayer game. It's a game with like some online multiplayer elements when you get to the kind of end game. But you can level through the game without like basically seeing anyone else or interacting with other people at all.
Okay.
So yeah, it's been good. I played basically all day yesterday, and we'll see. I'm kind of waiting to see. They have a new patch coming with a thing called incursions. So I'm hopefully that'll be cool. But yeah, otherwise it's been good. If anyone wants to play the Division, I'll probably be playing some more. And it's a good plug for our Discord. That's like the first time I've just randomly run into someone on Discord and ended up having a lot of fun. with a new friend. So go make friends on the KBMOD Discord.
Yeah, the address is really easy. It's just kbmod.com/discord, and it should go straight to our invite page. You can just accept that invite. And a lot of times there'll just be random people on there. So like myself, I'll be playing Battlefield or something, which I guess I can talk about right now.
Yeah.
I played this week a ton of Battlefield. I'll talk about it in a bit, but I played on the community night. I played on another night. I just feel like Battlefield 4, they've done such a good job. I mean, it's a little late, but they've done such a good job on balancing everything that I feel like it's really fun to play now. And then what else did I play? Oh, I got back into Rust. And then
I saw you get back into Rust because I saw you super late night or something. I saw
Yeah,
Brad grinding away Rust. I was like, I thought he quit that game. I was gonna almost message you, but I was like, he's probably like, I just imagined you, Brad, just like, just like with powder all over your face, just like super close to your monitor playing Rust, and like I didn't want to like really tilt you off, out of the world or whatever by messaging.
no, I
and being
completely
like, what are you doing?
respect that. I was in the zone. I had been up for 36 hours playing nothing but Rust, and then so thank you. I really appreciate that consideration, Scott.
Anyway, yeah,
No, yeah. So that was pretty good. We have like a group of like 10 people or something, 6 people that play on Rust together, and we're just trying to find a good server. Because right now, what happens is because Rust development is still in alpha and everything is kind of broken as far as like balance and stuff goes. You can build a good base and be loaded up on stuff in just a few days if you have enough people. But the problem is some servers like wipe the servers completely. So we've been trying to find one that doesn't wipe every week. So you put all this work into it and it just, it's gone, a week later. Most of us are like college students are pretty busy with work. So, we're just not the other neckbeards that are just in putting in hours into Rust that can like just grind all day. So, so there's that. And then I've been playing a little Doom.
Yeah, let's talk about Doom.
Yeah, let's talk about it. I'll go with other stuff I've been playing too at some point. But yeah, let's have that discussion.
Actually, no. Scott, you tell us about the other things. Doom needs to
all
be
right.
our finale for this section.
All right, that can be. Okay, yeah. So I played, I started actually, they put Manhunt, Rockstar put Manhunt on the PS4. They ported it. I'd never played any of the Manhunt games. I started it. It's okay. It kind of is monotonous and a little bit repetitive. But yeah, I don't know. It kind of like you can do a bunch of different kills depending on how long you hold down the buttons, and it's it's a stealth game. The controls are okay. It doesn't really have too much of a story. Basically, you're a convict who is supposed to be put down on death row, and you wake up, and then you just get put into this. Basically, you just get told to kill for some kind of TV show or whatever you're on. It's okay overall. Definitely for the time. I think it came out in 2004. That's right. But for the time, definitely pretty brutal. And a lot of the animations are pretty brutal. The voice acting's pretty funny. Like as you run into a bunch of different gangs and stuff like that. Like right now, I'm playing through a section where there are a bunch of like Nazi racist. Anyway, like so like the stuff they'll say is pretty ridiculous. But it's okay. I'll definitely finish it. But there's some really terrible mechanics. Like there's one section where you get into a crane and you're like, oh, I played GTA. I know how this goes. But the whole mechanic is you just have so the crane, obviously, like you're supposed to use the magnet and then drag like a washing machine to crush the guys who have guns and are shooting at you. But it's just so terribly done. Yeah, it's so and they do it multiple times. And it's so terribly done and hard to control and like to get the thing to actually like pull the fridge along. It's not ever touching the crane, and like you have to. It was just so frustrating. Anyway, got through the section, but they did it like twice, and I don't know. I don't know if the game just hasn't aged all that well, but it's okay. It's okay. I know now that Manhunt's not banned on Twitch, but Manhunt 2 Uncut, which I don't have that copy. That's the banned one. I think that's the one that actually had like the adult rating. But if I can get Manhunt 2, which I think is on PC, and the mature version, I'll probably play that too.
Yeah, be careful with those banned games.
Yes. Oh yes, I know. Oh, I took a look at the list. There's a game literally on the list that has the word rape in it, and I was like, oh, I wonder why that one's banned. Crazy. I like the fact that like it had to be banned. Like people were like, but trying to think what else. And then obviously I played Doom and played some CS:GO as well. But yeah, let's talk about Doom. Let's talk about Doom. Let's do it.
So Doom, I think man, so I played the only version of it I played. The closed beta for Doom is out. We should preface that the closed beta for Doom is available now this weekend, and so a lot of people have been playing it. They have two game types. They have Team Deathmatch, and then the other one is called Warpath, right? I think
That's right. Yep.
Yes.
so Warpath is like a moving. It's like domination, sort of, but it's like a moving little zone around the map, and so you've got to try and keep that zone for yourself. So
Right.
the concept seems fine.
Which both Brad and I didn't realize for the longest time with that. We played that game mode. Who was it? We were playing.
We were playing with Nick.
We were playing with Nick Fenton, believe it or not. Nick Fenton even installed the beta, and yeah, we were playing, and with was Mark playing too? I thought no, that was the first night, and yeah, so I'm like running around like, where the fuck is this? I'm following these arrows. I'm not like, why do I not? And then Nick was like, yeah, because it moves. Oh god.
Yeah. I think I was playing with Brad, and he was like, "Yeah, the arrow is not always the fastest way to get there."
Yeah,
and
that
I
was
was
the
like,
thing too.
"Wait, what?"
Yeah, because you can actually see the objective. There's a lot of shit on screen on Doom, though.
Yeah.
But yeah. So anyway, Brad and I both at the same time were like, "Oh shit," because I actually hadn't even seen the zone, and then you can see that it's gradually moving the entire map. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can see like the track on the ground where the zone that moves around, like kind of like a train track, basically.
It's basically like the mode in TF2, whatever. I don't know if you ever said that, but yeah. So, but the thing is with that mode, so the first night we played it, we only had like 3 people, I guess, Brad, when we were playing, and I was just kind of like, I don't know, it's not really that great. But then the night after, Sham joined us, and it was me, Sham, Brad. Who else was playing with? Brim Fashin,
Right, yep.
and 1 or 2 other people. So we had at least 5 people in the party. And that game mode against like a good team that knows what they're doing is incredibly hype and super fun. And it was like we had to remember that we eked out
Like
some really
I didn't
close
want it
wins.
to end, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
it was a ton of
really
fun. It was so. I think that's what they made everything around. Like I feel like.
Yeah, I feel like playing that game not in a part, which I guess you could say for any game, but I don't know if necessarily I would have expected that to be true of a game like Doom, where it's multiplayer. I mean, I guess it's multiplayer, so you should have friends to play with. But like, I don't think I would really touch that game solo as much. Like TDM's okay, but in a party, it's really fun. I actually really like it. But I don't know. What did you think, Brandon? What do you think of the mechanics so far?
It's hard to say because it's like it feels to me it's like it's too slow. It's too slow for what that game needs to be. It felt like the Halo team tried to make a Doom game. Like that's kind of what it feels like to me. Like it's slower.
Yes.
It's
Well, it looks
slower.
like that too.
Yeah, I mean, it looks kind of like that. Also, before I forget, like the announcer voice is just a complete joke. I have no idea why they thought that announcer voice was like the right tone to set with Doom, but it's so bad. I first heard it and I was just like, what is this? This isn't a placeholder. But yeah, I think the game is not bad. It just seems forgettable. And like having a loadout system in Doom, it just doesn't feel like Doom to me.
Yes.
And the thing that I have the biggest problem with is the demon spawn system. It is a complete joke. Like when you randomly in the map, an item will spawn that allows you to turn into a demon. And in the closed beta, the only demon you can turn into is the Revenant, the one with the rocket launchers on his shoulders. That's like in all of their marketing stuff. And the Revenant will one shot you. Period. It one shots you.
Yep.
No questions asked. It is a joke. It's a joke for like competitive play. It makes the game feel. It just makes the game. It makes the skill ceiling feel so low because if the enemy team happens to be near the random spawn for the demon, then like now you can't do anything against it. They're just going to control that point for like as long as that demon lives. It's so dumb.
It's I totally agree. And when we were playing it, I was like, that thing's so dumb. They need to. I mean, I'm hoping Like they should have options. Either they remove it altogether or there's you join lobbies that don't have that enabled at all. Because I totally agree. For the skill ceiling, it's total luck depending on where everybody spawns, who's going to get it. Like basically the games that we lost, that team would get that thing with the warpath.
Yeah.
They would get it every time. There's nothing you can do. It just clears everything out.
There's nothing you
can't.
can do. Like
I mean,
feel
you can
like,
kill it pretty fast if you focus fire and stuff like that. But again, if somebody knows what they're doing in that thing,
you have to hope they're
so
bad
hard.
aim because they literally will one-shot anyone, and so you just have to throw bodies at it. Like that to me just feels, that was like the icing on the cake that made me think, like, do they realize the type of game they're making? Like, is there a direction for this game? Because it doesn't feel like it's not competitive. And I feel
that's
like
the best point that you can make is that it feels like they borrowed a little bit from every single popular shooter that's out there.
Yeah, that's what it doesn't feel like. It has the identity that you want Doom to have. Like Doom has some of the richest heritage in shooters, and they could have made this a a fast-paced Doom game, but they slowed it down, so that it works on consoles, which we'll talk about kind of in the news as more of a topic of discussion, but. Like, you can tell the game is slowed down a little bit so that it works with a controller. And like, just the random demon stuff just doesn't make sense to me. I don't know how they found that fun. Like, that was the one piece of the game where I was like, you know what? I'm on a roll. I have like a 5-6 kill streak, and then I die to the demon. And I just had no chance. I had absolutely no chance to kill it.
Well, that's the problem, I think, with it. There's no real countermeasure, because there's, like, if somebody knows what they're doing with that, they have a long time in the air, they can be up, and it's just one shot, like you said. And the rocket launcher that you get in comparison
to what that has, it does like 50 damage direct hit.
It maybe definitely doesn't feel like it, but I feel like the blast radius, like where you actually hit people, is much different than when you're the demon or whatever. It's just I don't know. I feel like a lot can be done with that.
And I understand, like, especially people watching it who haven't played it. Like, I was extremely underwhelmed at first, and honestly, I mean, I don't have a ton of time. I probably played, I don't know, I probably have like 6 or 7 hours in it now, and even despite all of like, and unless I get, I mean, it's in beta, and there's a lot of betas that have options like being able to turn off motion blur, which you can only set it to low in this game.
Yeah,
at least right
man.
now. All the graphic settings are totally locked down. It's basically like you can change your resolution when. So again, it's in beta, but I mean, it's a game that's coming out really soon.
Yeah,
and I don't understand. I mean, unless it's just so fragile that they felt like they had to lock everything down super tight. I mean, even launching it when you first started it, there was, almost for everybody, or a lot of people, it put it on the wrong monitor. It was like really stuttery. I was like, is this thing even going to run? But once it actually started running, I was actually having no performance issues. A lot of people with like SLI and stuff were complaining that they were having issues. I know Hex had to end up turning that off, and then it was running fine. But like, all that being said, and despite a lot of the stuff with the loadouts and stuff like that, I actually don't hate the core gameplay. I feel like the shocking thing for me is that even though, again, like, we can talk about the Doom identity and all that kind of stuff, and again, it was funny, Nick and Brad and I were talking about when we were playing the other night, was like, and this is something I said before, like, the Doom franchise, it's like maybe 10 years ago that still had staying power, but I don't think the Doom name, obviously for older gamers and stuff it will, but I don't think the Doom name really I think it's proof that they are straying from their formula and mixing in all these new kind of genre shooters that have gotten popular in the last 10 years.
Like
Even Doom is proof that the name doesn't mean anything at all. It doesn't matter.
Or at least they don't have confidence that the name means anything. That's the thing. It's like, if any game can come out today and release something that is very different, I think it's Doom. Because like, people will buy it because it's like, listen, this is different, but this is what Doom is, right? It's like, it's fast-paced. This is getting back to its roots. And this to me seems like a concession that they don't want to take that risk. That like, here, let's combine some elements from all the popular shooters out there. I mean, like, the ending screen is like ripped from Blacklight. With
the Blacklight ending screen, the intro screen is almost laughable. It looks like Nick made the Disney Infinity joke. It looks like you're about to load into like a Disney Infinity with all of your colors. It's just, and so, yeah, but the very nature of them, and again, I don't know, like, the people working on, like, this is what I like to believe, though. I like to believe that people working on this game are like fighting, and it's like it's on the publisher, they're like, no, you gotta borrow all these elements, and they're like, no, if we're gonna make a Doom game, we need to make a Doom game. But right now, they're doing the very, like, by borrowing all these elements, they don't have any identity at all, and basically my Twitch chat the entire time is just like, why are you playing this like hodgepodge of all these like
Yeah.
ideas that have already been implemented in other shooters? And the shame of it is the actual core gameplay. I don't hate it. Like, again, I don't think it necessarily has any kind of insane identity, but when we were partied up and playing together, like I was actually enjoying myself. And I was like, I could, if there were more game modes and like they fixed some of the stuff, like I could see myself actually doing that as a nice, like, you know, distraction from playing Counter-Strike and other stuff.
Yeah, I mean the gameplay felt tight. It didn't feel like a badly made game. It's just it didn't feel like it has. If this was any other game, right? If this was like a brand new shooter coming out that didn't have any lore, didn't have the heritage that Doom has, you would look at it and you'd be like, all right, that's like, it's not bad, right? It's not a bad game. But it's because of the expectations that this series has. It's like, why are you copying everyone else? You started it all. You started the whole shooter genre, right? Like, how are you not taking a stand here and saying, like, this is what Doom is? Yeah. It just doesn't feel original to me. And I don't know that, like, I don't know that any amount of tuning or tweaking is going to be able to fix that at this stage. Because, like you said, that game launches very soon.
Yeah, something to think about also is, you know, this has been in production for I don't know how long. It's gone through so many reboots and things like that.
We've seen multiple
and then,
screenshots from projects that were abandoned and stuff to get to this point.
You know, and they got acquired by, or I think, they got acquired back in 2009 or something like that. They acquired them. So, I mean, they've definitely had some time here where, you know, that they should be able to, I would think, develop something new, original, and I just don't. I'm
and
just
instead,
not,
no. It's nothing about it actually screams that. All.
Yeah, it really just has the demons, and I wouldn't even go as far as saying the levels, but we've only seen the other disclaimer here. We only have 2 game modes, and both those game modes we have the same 2 maps. That's all we've been given. It's a closed beta. We were given keys. You know, so it wasn't easy getting this. They've been very stingent about like how people are getting these keys. Though I heard this last weekend for some reason, if you bought something at GameStop, you got a private beta code. So I don't know what that was about.
I think this feels like something that I think they could take a lesson from what other developers are learning is like the earlier you get people involved, the better off you are, because either they love it and they tell you you're on the right track, or they tell you really quickly and swiftly that like this is not the game they want. But it has been so locked down about this game for so long. I mean, 2 years ago at QuakeCon, they showed a trailer in a closed door. They didn't even put it online. Like, that's how closed down the development of this game has been. And no one has seen anything out of the multiplayer until now. Like, no one has had hands on it. No one has really gotten to see it out in the wild. And now, like, it's too late to really change much. So, I gotta think too that whole lockdown thing is because they knew that they didn't really have anything groundbreaking. Maybe that's the thing is like you don't know, and like either they knew all along this was going to be like something weak, or I don't know. I really don't see I don't know. I'm sure being a fly on the wall in there's probably some very interesting meetings that happened.
Oh, I'm sure.
But yeah, I think it to me it screams a company that knew they had to get this out. They already like have, you know, more or less publicly had to reset this project once or more, and so like what you're getting to me feels like the safest thing they could have done.
Yeah,
which is like here we're gonna take a few things from each of these different games that that has been successful, and we're gonna put them together and slap a Doom skin on it. Like,
so the other thing though, just to be fair, and I'm just going to play devil's advocate here. The other thing is, and this comes back to the whole idea that, excuse me, like the Doom model, is the Doom model really relevant anymore? And even when it comes to like the multiplayer side, you know, could Doom release a game that was more true to playing, you know, Doom way back in the day, with the crazy weapons and all that kind of stuff? Do you think they would be rewarded for that, or people go, that's not really like, that's cool, it's cool for what it is, but if I want to play I almost don't feel like, again, I think they're way too safe on the expectation side with this, but I also don't know if it's fair to be like, if they just made I don't know if people know the Doom game that they wanted. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't
Yeah.
know if that formula still holds up anymore.
Maybe,
And
but I think I think in this day and age, why create a multiplayer if you don't think that it's going to have longevity?
Yeah,
And the way that you create longevity, especially when you already have an existing brand like that, is you want to make it competitive. You want it to be something that people want to play. And
True.
like you look at like Overwatch, for instance. Overwatch comes out and there are like pro teams trying to assemble before the game's even released. Now, granted, like Doom can't expect to have that happen, but I think that's the lens you have to look at it through. Is like Doom has the potential to revitalize, the Quake style of gameplay, but it didn't. It just frankly is not going to do that.
Well,
and I think it risks turning into another forgettable multiplayer experience where even if they had taken a risk and made it faster and different, even if it ended up being like a forgettable experience, then like whatever, right? At least you tried it. At least I think this way ensures that it stays in like that kind of mediocre state where like, maybe a few thousand people are playing, but nothing really takes off. You're not going to have any pro scene. But if you go and take some of those risks, maybe you make a good enough product and it's a different enough experience that like people do start organizing around it, and that community does grow and thrive.
Yeah.
Like that's just it feels so safe to me that I think people are going to just forget about it and move on.
No, 100%. I think the sad thing is like this basically, and again, this is somebody I actually like. I probably like this more than maybe Brandon does, and I think Brad likes it, at least in the team aspect that we've played, like quite a bit. And this is me as somebody that actually likes. Again, I think it could be better, but if I'm playing the core game, I enjoy it. I think this will be the last time we see the Doom name on anything in a lot, because I don't think it's going to sell well, and I think people are going to, like you said, are going to forget about it. And I give this thing maybe 3 or 4 days on Twitch.
Well, I mean,
before it's gone.
I think we'll see. Like I'm still betting on the single player part of Doom, because the game that they've built and all of the criticisms that I have currently about their closed beta are strictly around like multiplayer issues.
You're talking about multi,
right.
yes.
So
if clear on that.
It is still possible for them to redeem themselves in a way that that like the Wolfenstein team did, right? Saying we're not even going to have a multiplayer. And I think back at the time, I'm sure if you go back and listen to those podcasts, I'm pretty sure I said, like, that's crazy, right? Wolfenstein has this strong multiplayer heritage. Why would you not make a new multiplayer for Wolfenstein? But then they put out, like, an amazing story-driven Wolfenstein game, and it all made sense. Where now, with Doom, like, maybe the multiplayer, they didn't cancel it, right? But maybe that's, like, not the star of the show. Maybe the single player is really the star of the show. And if that's the case, then okay, great. It's just like it's unfortunate that this is the first true gameplay we're seeing from Doom.
Yeah.
And I think that people are going to look at it and be like you said, Scott, if you're not in your late 20s or above, you don't necessarily know the Doom name. Right. And so like I'm worried that a lot of people are going to watch this, they're going to tune in on Twitch, they're going to see someone playing Doom, and they're going to be like, all right, that looks fine, but I don't really need that game.
Right, exactly. It doesn't stand out or anything. Yeah.
I think for me to really enjoy it, speed definitely needs to be increased. Like the fact it's so slow for me just to get from A to B, and
it is. And I don't know if that's also just the size of the maps, because sometimes but you can go a long time without seeing somebody, even if you're trying to.
So the maps are made up of 12 people. So both sides. So it's you could go a while without seeing somebody. Like
no, you really can.
Points.
Like there's times where we're just like, where is everybody? I feel like I'm like losing my mind.
And this is what I wanted to get into, where I think it's because they're really developing for all platforms rather than just PC in mind. Yeah, so
that's segue.
Yeah,
well,
I really think it is slow because they don't want to develop something that's unplayable on the console. And I think making it faster would make it unplayable on a controller. I really do. Like, I haven't tried it on a controller, but I think getting any faster, it would be rough. But on PC, though, I would definitely welcome an increase in speed. But I think the reason we're not going to see that is because they're not going to separate or do different balances for the platforms. And I think our next thing is Overwatch. Overwatch, it's coming out. It's still closed beta. And their dev, according to an interview on YouTube that they did, one of the devs, they said that they're going to be balancing separately for the consoles and PC. So the new heroes are going to be tested internally first. Consoles are going to get something different than what PC is going to get. And I think speed is definitely going to be something that that's going to be influenced by that. And I wish Doom would maybe take that kind of approach, if that was really what was keeping them from increasing the speed.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. If they're on the same, of the same mindset, then maybe that's why we're looking at the game we're looking at right now.
Yeah, it feels like I think the few times that I've really seen a title try to optimize for both, like console and PC with the same, with just like the same, making one game that tries to appeal and work for both. I can't think of like a real success there. Like I think back to Tribes Ascend. Actually, the menus in Tribes were these big buttons that made no sense at all on a PC, but you could just tell that like they were there because the thought was probably that, hey, if we do decide to release this on console, like let's think about before we even are on a console, let's think about the interface a console would need. And and like that was just one small thing, but Tribes Ascend never came out on console, and then like in its whole lifetime, it just annoyed PC players because there's these big buttons, there's like a whole bunch of options that you have to scroll down, and like it's taking up all of this screen real estate with these massive buttons and massive text that just don't make any sense on a PC monitor. And that's like one small example where we're talking more about the balancing of the gameplay and how that works. But I think the concept is the same, like trying to make something that's going to appease to both PC and console equally and work the exact same way is really hard, if not almost impossible to do. And like I think we see that with Doom, where there probably is a desire to make one game that is going to work for both console and PC audiences, and so the concession you have to make is to slow the game down, because you could never play Quake. You could never play Quake on a console. You could never play CS on a console. Like those games don't work well without a mouse and keyboard and the dexterity required there. But you look at a game like Doom, and like I could see where Doom is kind of slow enough that it would work with a controller. And I think Overwatch is like pretty sensitive to this thing too, because Overwatch is clearly targeted at consoles. But so far, their PC experience has been really good, and it sounds like they are open to treating the console version as a different game, in some respect, to make sure that they don't water down the PC experience.
Yeah, they said directly here, we don't want to do anything that would harm PCs because of console tuning. And there's been a lot of unease about I play on this platform, which means the other one is going to ruin it for us, and we wouldn't do that. So I mean, it's I think from a development standpoint, it's probably expensive to do this route, but to really have a successful game, I think they don't really have much of a choice. And at least these type of game genres where I don't know, like speed could be in play here, where it'd be unplayable on a console, but it'd be playable on a PC and vice versa. So
yeah, I think you have to be willing to. Obviously, Blizzard has the resources to invest in kind of a different balancing team, perhaps different development teams that support the console and PC versions separately. It's not cheap to do this right, to do this in the best way. So I could see why very few studios do that. They basically take the PC version and port it to a console to the best of their ability, and that's pretty much it. But I think it does have the chance to really water down the PC experience. But getting both of the versions right, I think probably does take a lot of resources. It takes more people. It takes an investment that I think it's probably a hard decision to make unless you have an Overwatch-sized budget, frankly.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it makes sense, like you're saying, why most development houses and stuff and companies are not going to do are just not going to spend the resources on it because it's going to be too much. But I
just
do think
man,
it's something that we just have to live with now.
I think it's funny though, because like I feel like id and Bethesda and ZeniMax, like that, you know, that company, they do have the resources. You would think they do have the resources.
Oh, they definitely do, I think.
So that's why, like, I feel like Overwatch stands in stark contrast to something like Doom, where Overwatch is, at least they're saying all the right things, and I don't feel like the Doom team is going to do that at all. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't feel that way. Having played the beta, having seen them keep things under wraps for so long, it's just like, it's such stark difference, and I think it'll probably, like, it will definitely bear out. Like, I think that Overwatch could be a big console title specifically because of this kind of thinking, that like the console audience, the people playing on controllers, the people that play games primarily on their console, it's a different group of people largely, you know. So like you have to cater to them if you want that platform to take off in the same way. So yeah, good on them.
There you go. All right. So yeah, we'll definitely, I mean, we'll move on here, but just even thinking about like, would I buy I guess a lot of it will hinge on, like you said, the single player.
It's all the single player for me. If I buy that game after this point, if it was only multiplayer, I would probably just skip it. But the single player experience, like, I have high hopes for, just because I think being in development for that long, they have had a long time to try and get the single player right. And frankly, that's like what Doom is really known for, is their single player stuff. So I mean, Doom 3 like didn't really even have a multiplayer to speak of. So
right, that's true.
My hope is that story is good, that the gameplay is good, and Doom is one of the few games that I'll pay $60 for a single player game. Yeah, if it's good.
Right. And if you look at sorry to cut back to Doom, but if you look at the Steam page, it's like definitely advertising like the single player campaign and stuff. Sure. I don't really see much of the multiplayer, but sure. I'm excited to see what the updates show. But anyways, back to the news.
Yep. So there you go. All right, we got to talk about this, obviously, as there was a major, you know, the first North American major going on in Columbus all this week. A bunch of people in the chat were actually there, including, I'll just shout some of them out. Not So, B Heard was there. I think Two Hit 'em Quit 'em. Anybody I'm missing? Yeah, and the reason I'm mentioning this,
KBMOD hoodie and T-shirt spottings.
I think Two Hit 'em Quit 'em was wearing a KBMOD hoodie. There may have been more. Yeah, with the old one. And I have to shout this out because Not So and the crew that were there. I all of a sudden my feed starts blowing up because I started watching a little bit later today. My feed starts blowing up and I'm like, what is going on? And everyone, and then I get sent this picture of Not So and the crew holding up a sign when they got cut to in the crowd, and it just says, "Inbox APL." Written on a whiteboard, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, did you guys see the Inbox APL sign?" It was Chorbs and Nick BA were there too. That's right. So anyway, it was fantastic. I got a huge chuckle out of it. I watched the live cap and stuff, went back and and they really did. So there you go, putting the Inbox meme out there for 1.3 million people watching. I thought was pretty clever. But yeah, man, the crowd for the first North American major was incredible. There were great signs going on all throughout. Obviously, Luminosity Gaming ended up taking it. I thought it was really well deserved. And, you know, but the huge story was at least for me, was the Team Liquid collapse against, again, the ultimate champions and well-deserved. They just played an incredible tournament. But, you know, up 15-9 and 15-7, or was it, or 6 respectively. And then Brad, unable to close out. Game point for so many rounds. And before this even started, I was trying not to get too emotionally invested. You know, even with like, I don't know, even with the Fnatic win and then Fnatic going out to Astralis, I was still like, you know, I was like, wow, like there's no team left here that has actually won a major. I was trying to stay in my cold-hearted heart shell, and I started believing. They started going up in Mirage. I was like, oh, this could happen. And then they get to 15-7, and I'm like, wow, they're definitely going to win this. Oh my god! 15-9, 15-6. That's what it was. It was 15 map points for them to take those two games, and I mean, it was just brutal. And when it started happening at 15-6, I literally was making joke tweets. Like, I didn't think there was any way it could happen on that. Was it Mirage? It was the Mirage game. I was like, there's no way. I mean, LG, again, I thought they were going to win the series overall, but I didn't think it was going to be a 2-0. And definitely not in the fashion that it happened. And I was like, it's happening again, dude, making all the memes. And it was just round after round after round. Not to mention Cold Zera with the probably one of the most insane clips you will ever see in any Counter-Strike ever, but getting basically at 15-6, holding the B bomb site, holding B halls on Mirage with starts off with, a nice scope shot, jumps up, no scope, double into a quick scope as someone is coming down at him for the 4K.
That was like one of the most disgusting shots in Counter-Strike history.
Unbelievable. Yeah, in straight up Counter-Strike history. I don't think you'll ever see, I mean, not that you won't see plays that are on par with that, but I can't really think of anything that's on par with that. When you also put in the story of basically that's what saved, that they just rallied from that and won 2-0 and came back. Like, that started everything. And they went on to win the tournament. So, and $500,000. So, just incredible. But I mean, the major production was incredible. There was very little downtime in between. The analyst desk was great. I thought the casting was great. There were no major production problems. There were so many amazing games, lots of surprises, so many upsets. I mean, it really had everything. I don't know if there will ever be a major as amazing as this major. I mean, the bar has been set extremely high. I don't, and North America should get a major every year, and MLG frankly should for how well they pulled everything off in Columbus. What were you guys' thoughts on what you saw though, and what you watched?
I think I agree with you. The production, everything seemed great. I think the crowd was obviously very into it during all the games involving North American teams, and especially the Liquid game. I mean, every time Team Liquid's getting a kill, the crowd is just going wild. And I think that's there's something about that you always get with sports games, because there's always like a local team playing in a sports game.
Exactly.
Where sometimes in esports you don't get that, because if an EU audience is watching two NA teams, there's just like, it's a little bit quieter there in the stands. So this was one of the times that I've seen just insanity going on in the crowd, and I think they benefited from a ton of great games. I mean, a ton of good storylines. I think it's unfortunate. I mean, because I think a lot of us were rooting for Liquid being the North American team, but I mean, that comeback by Luminosity, and then going on to win it all. I mean, Luminosity winning against Navi, who's a storied team. Like, Navi's got a bunch of wins under their belt. I think just incredible stuff all around. I really enjoyed it, and like you said, just well run. Like, I think it shows it does set the bar, I think, for future events, and especially with all the, like, you look at that, and I just kept thinking all throughout a lot of that broadcast, like, a lot of times this looks good enough to be on television.
Absolutely.
And that's not like the goal, but like just in terms of the production value, right? Like, you think about the professionalism of the way an NBA game looks or an NFL game. Yeah. I felt the same way about this. The stage looked great. The production was great. Everything looked like, this is TV quality. It doesn't matter that it's on the internet, but like the quality is there to where, you could show people that aren't familiar with esports, and they would get drawn in just because of the storylines, because of the production. So,
yep, I thought the player pieces that they did for the most part were really solid. Awesome background on the players. Yeah,
and that's something that's
what you have to do.
You have to do that.
You have to build story.
You have to do that. Like, I think that was the thing for me, is the building of that story over the weekend, and kind of like, again, it shows that is what's important in a major like this, like a global major. You've got to build up that story, that it is like, the kind of up and coming Brazilian team versus Navi, like the stalwarts in the scene. I think that's what real sports does so well, and esports is finally getting to that point where they're seeing that you've got to build these storylines, and you have to have that background to make it interesting for people that don't follow Counter-Strike day in and day out.
Exactly. And I talked about this before when it wasn't the major, it was the tournament before this. But when my parents were getting involved, because of, again, production, the stories, they were asking me stuff. I mean, I wish I had been home so they could have watched the major, because they would have even been more invested seeing the player pieces and all that kind of stuff. But absolutely, I mean, and I totally agree. A little anecdotal from Chorbs here because he was at the event. Everything in the arena was amazing too. At one point, there was a camera crane that was blocking our view, and we tweeted at MLG Adam, who's the event organizer. A lot of people know him. And within 1 minute, he was over there talking to the cameraman. So like the attention to detail as well for like the people that were actually in the stadium, in the Nationwide Arena and stuff like that. Like it just MLG just absolutely killed it. So I think the bar has been set extremely high, and also just not anything that MLG could control, but just the way that this panned out and the storylines and the teams that ended up being in the Final Four, and and then the games that you had like these just incredible, the Liquid drama and stuff. It's just I don't know.
You couldn't have asked for a better storyline to unfold. That sort of completed everything else. If it had been, if the production and all of that had been good, and then the games were kind of predictable, it would have been fine. But I think like the games really showcased the fact that this was like one of the best events I think that the CS scene has ever seen.
Yep. And and they and that was a lot of responsibility. First $1 million major for CS:GO, and they lived up to it, and so that's no small task. So definitely going to be excited. I'm thinking Valve had to be really happy with how everything went. They had Valve employees and stuff there, and monitoring it. But so I'm hoping North America with a major every year would definitely be. I think we deserve it after how the crowd and everybody showing up and the stadium being packed and all the tickets they sold, and especially like the hype, even all the casters and stuff were saying, just very and obviously you had the home field advantage with the whole Liquid thing and stuff like that, but I think it really it showed that the scene is developed and continuing to grow huge in the US.
They got that many people to go to Columbus, Ohio. So that's impressive enough.
Exactly.
I think I really want to see, I brought this up before, I want to see like the international for CS:GO, where the fans fund this huge event in promise, or I don't know if it's really a promise, but it basically in return for like things the fans have been wanting to see from CS:GO in a long time. I think that'd be huge, but I'd love to see that. So
that feels and like also, that's got to be the next step, right? I think as the production value increases and the prize keeps increasing, like I see no reason for them not to have some international style event that's really like the grand finals. I think it seems obvious to me.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And I agree with both of you. I can only hope that's the next step. Also, viewer record broken 1.3 million across all like the platforms and stuff. So broke the record previously set, which is awesome. And so, again, sometimes even just talking about this, I have to go back to like CS:GO 5 years ago when it came out, and like I even came across some of my old beta videos, and like the game was so fucking terrible. It was truly like people still comment on those videos, and so when I go on my YouTube to check comments, I see them and people are like, "This is the game that." And CS:GO is not a perfect game. There's still things that there's even stuff that happened like where grenades were doing no damage, and like there's a lot of things that need to still be worked on. But to see where Counter-Strike just not even Go, but obviously with Go, but has come, I don't know, man. Like I get emotional thinking about it. It's crazy. It's insane. I never would have guessed that from this shit that was CS:GO 5 years ago to where we are now, like that this could ever happen. So it's a treat. Like I'm super glad. Like my favorite game of all time is Counter-Strike across even all versions. But I think CS:GO is probably my favorite Counter-Strike. I can say that. So really, really cool. All right, we've got to address. We're going to do some April Fool's recap because obviously April 1st was 2 days ago, and all the companies, all the tech companies, and they like to get a little zany and do some jokes.
Zany is a good word for it.
Zany is the word that I would use. And there's a bunch of ones that were kind of forgettable, but there's one, Brandon, that you put in here, but we have to talk about.
Yeah,
that was so Gmail's.
Normally April Fools is just like you want to do something that's like harmless and funny and like maybe it gets people's attention, but it doesn't actually really affect anyone. Because like a bad April Fool's joke can like really can hurt people's experience for one day out of the year. And so like a service like Gmail, I would say that that's pretty important to a lot of people. Like if you use Gmail. It's probably not like a joking thing to mess with the Gmail interface,
Right.
But so the Gmail April Fool's Day joke was maybe the worst April Fool's, like, tech April Fool's Day joke of all time. I cannot remember an April Fool's Day joke that has, like, had more real life consequences than this one. So the feature was a Gmail mic drop. And what it did was it replaced the send and archive button in Gmail, which is next to the regular send button. It replaced the send and archive button with a send and mic drop button, which, if you clicked it, would send an email. It would reply to the thread with a Minions GIF of a minion dropping a microphone, and it would mute the thread after that. So you were mic dropping in the thread, and it would mute the thread so that so that responses to that thread do not go into your inbox.
Yes.
And it was
it was the send. So the send and archive button was replaced with send and mic drop. It wasn't misplaced or put somewhere else. It was literally replaced with the mic drop.
Yes. Which caused a lot of confusion, which we will talk about here.
Yeah, so that's, like, bad enough, I think, just as a thought. Like, injecting a GIF into an email as an April Fool's Day joke seems like a dubious proposition at best.
Yeah.
But no, so they replaced an element of their interface that people probably interact with every day. I mean, sending
and use muscle memory, to even
and
interact.
the button was, like, orange. It's like, I mean, the button stands out. And so it was not long. So they released this, from what I could tell, like, late night, something like 9 or 10 p.m. Pacific. I think, like, it had gone live before April Fool's Day was officially started in the U.S. By the time I woke up on April Fool's Day, they had already reverted it, because there were a few stories of people, like, getting fired. I think which one? This one. There was one where a writer, like, basically got fired or, like, lost his job because he had sent edits to his editor or his boss and accidentally sent with the mic drop, and, like, they took offense to it
and didn't realize
didn't realize it, and, like, obviously it's just such an inflammatory thing that, like, accidentally sending a mic drop GIF could be, depending on the situation, could just blow up right in your face. Obviously,
the one with the guy who was like he was looking for a job basically, and he'd been looking for a job for a long time. Finally had an interview and was, like, farther along in the process, and accidentally hits the button, and essentially is like, well, people were saying if you can and do it, and I'll just read what he said. This is from Justin Boxel. He said, I just sent off an email with my resume to the first person who wanted to interview me in months. I clicked the wrong button and sent it with the mic drop. Well, I guess I'm not getting that job. Words cannot describe how pissed off I am right now. I'm actually shaking. One click, and I lost the job. God damn it. Not funny, Google. I'm going to go cry now. Now, again, that's, would he have gotten the job? Who knows? Maybe, almost, maybe the person had a sense of humor and would have, but probably not. That's not what you want to be sending to a potential employer.
There's other scenarios too, like this funeral home accidentally was sending it to people. So we're very sorry to hear the tragic loss of your daughter. Your brother-in-law Louis suggested we reach out to you to begin funeral arrangements. And so at the top they had the minion post the GIF with the drop the mic. It's like,
oh man.
And apparently there was also a bug with the April Fool's joke, where if you clicked it before entering any recipients, it would give you an error because you can't send an email to no one. But then if you stayed in that window and added recipients, whatever, and used the normal send button, it would still send the mic drop. Like there was a QA problem that would, even if you knew, you could still accidentally send this stupid Minions GIF. Just all around. I mean, like, one of the worst ideas ever. This should give you hope that, like, even a company as large as Google, which presumably has, I don't know what kind of approval the Gmail team has to launch a feature, but even a company like Google can make something that is so remarkably dumb. Like, I can't imagine how bad that team feels, but I also can't imagine how you approve this in any way.
Yeah. I feel like, some people just said that, like, Google does not give a flying fuck. And, maybe that's... I mean, maybe that's part of it. I don't know. I mean, they did rescind on it at some point, but part of me is like, I don't know. Like, how does this get passed? And again,
Well,
someone also said, well, minions ruin everything, and I do agree with that.
Yeah, it's
But
not even a good GIF.
it's
Like
yeah, it's
use a
not. There
like
could have been better
you could have
gifts.
done a non-minions GIF. There is something about a minions GIF that just screams, "I don't care about you."
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
yeah, I don't know what they were thinking because they were like, who uses Gmail for anything other than not business related things, other than like maybe to talk to my grandma or something. But like
Right.
seriously, like it just seems.
Oh, there are a ton
What
of
was the
people that
logic?
there are a ton of people that use Gmail for business.
Well,
I
that's what
mean,
I'm saying. Yeah, that's
yeah.
that's like the sole purpose for most people. Like,
Yeah.
who
So
uses
like,
email
why
for-
would you? Yeah, risk anyway. But because they can. Because no, what are people gonna do? Go use fucking Yahoo Mail? I'm not.
That's true. Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Again, like part of it is that Google is, and they're just so intrinsic to everybody's like daily life. Like everybody has a Gmail, unless like you're, like on Hotmail or something from that's even still exists. Uh, so I like partially they can kind of do this kind of half-assed April Fools and cost people potential jobs, whatever, and just be like, oh, sorry, guy. Well, whatever. I mean, what are you gonna do?
But I bet they really regret. I mean, like
I'm sure. I
like,
would hope.
it's such a April Fool's Day is one of those things where not doing something on April Fool's, no one's going to care. Like it doesn't matter. But if you do something on April Fool's, it's basically like always negative. It's either people don't care or like you do
Right.
something dumb and people report on how dumb it was.
That's true.
Like there was no risk to not doing something on April Fool's, but they actually like put in developer time to build this stupid feature that ended up like causing all of these issues. Amazing.
Yeah, definitely amazing. We can hit up some of these other ones. There was the Razer Project Breadwinner, which was a toaster that came out a day. The other thing was, so Nick was writing on this because this came out, and a lot of these came out the day before it was even April
Yeah.
Fools. And
Yeah,
that
did people
is
not realize
unacceptable.
March had 31 days?
Yeah, that is unacceptable, and that's obviously to just try to get into the news cycle and stuff like that. But seriously, I'm agreeing with Nick Fenton on this because he was talking about it on my street. Like, just fuck off with that. Like, that is too much. I don't know what else. The Pornhub turned into Cornhub was actually fantastic.
That's funny. That's
That was
funny.
hilarious. Yes, I think that's probably
Slob on the
the
cob.
best one. Yes.
Hot young corn gets plowed.
Yeah, if you haven't seen that one, I don't know if you link that in the chat, but you should. But yeah, you should check out check out Cornhub. It was actually really, really well done. That one didn't hurt anybody. It was just a nice laugh. You could still find your porn if you had to.
And I bet there's a certain number of people with a specific fetish that were actually incredibly pleased.
Yeah, that's a good point. I know. Yeah, I want to know the percentage of people that just straight up jerked off to whatever was directly in front of them after this prank. Probably.
I want to see their traffic graphs for April 1st and see if
Yeah.
like the Midwest had a surge.
all the corn states, man. Huge uptick in traffic. Oh, that's funny. What else? I don't know. Oh yeah, I didn't see the Witcher. What's the Witcher one? They had a Wild Hunt Roach DLC. I didn't see. Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, so they have this like horse in the game, and
Yeah.
it's just they were just making fun on all the bugs and stuff the horse has as like
okay.
a separate DLC for the game. And they actually said that they modeled it with like real people, and so they had like the fake horse mask on and stuff like that. It's super funny, worth watching. Whoa, it already has almost 1 million views on
Yeah,
YouTube. Sorry. And then let's see, what are the other ones? Linus Tech Tips temporarily became NVIDIA Tech Tips. And then speaking of NVIDIA, they did a energy drink that had 980 milligrams of caffeine. But yeah, and that was kind of the notable ones at least. But
Yeah.
April Fool's Day. Maybe the worst day to be on the internet.
Just the worst.
It is actually the worst.
It's horrible. It's horrible. All right, well, let's get into a few quick hits here. Brandon, I'm going to let you take these two, but we have talked about the Universal Windows app, and just basically just some news about Microsoft acknowledging some issues.
Yeah, so the first couple quick hits here are from the Microsoft Build Conference, which normally is not super relevant to like gaming or the stuff we talk about, but did have a couple of notable items here for us that people might be interested in. So we've talked about kind of the Xbox Universal Windows platform and some of the problems with that. They've promised to support, so in the build conference, they promised to support modding and overlays and G-Sync and FreeSync, like getting rid of forced VSync and things like that. They didn't go into a ton of detail, but they sort of made a promise to people that to the developers. It's a developer-driven conference. That's the main audience. They talked about more things they're going to allow in the Universal Windows platform. So basically, I wanted to bring this up because I feel like this is not the final time we'll talk about this, and I think it'll become a bigger deal as games come out on the Windows Store, and kind of as they try and ratchet up the Windows Store as like a marketplace. I think this will be relevant to us. So hopefully their promises become reality, and they actually focus on fixing the things that are currently like horribly they just don't work, basically.
Yeah. Hashtag promises is the headline for what basically that entire conference was. But yeah.
Yeah. And the second piece that is not immediately applicable to gaming, but I think is pretty big news for like development in general, and could end up being a bigger deal for gaming, is that Microsoft is bringing Bash and the Linux command line to Windows 10, which to anyone in the development space, that they would recognize what that means. That's like a huge deal for Microsoft to be bringing in Bash instead of like right now you use PowerShell or the command prompt, but Bash is like that's what Unix has. That's what a lot of developers are familiar with, and so Windows bringing that could be a pretty big deal. I think it could end up driving more developers to use Windows, because like right now a lot of development uses Mac or Linux. And so anyway, Microsoft's making a big play to become more cross-platform, more compatible, which they're getting their lunch eaten by Linux and Mac, in terms of their growth. So those are both pretty cool things. If you're a developer, I think either of those things might be interesting to you. I don't know how many developers listen to the podcast, but there's your weekly 3-minute snippet, developer corner.
There you go.
Well, I just threw this in, but I just remembered this morning that the Steam results came back saying that Windows 10 is now the most used OS on the Steam platform, which I think is the first time that's happened. But with Windows kind of almost forcing some people to like upgrade or unexpectedly upgrading them, that was kind of expected. Yeah. But I think it's interesting to see so many people now on the same platform, and Microsoft really kind of aiming for those people.
Man, I want to meet the guy who's on Windows Vista 32-bit, the 0.24% or 0.24%. Sorry, yeah, that's
poor
incredible.
Soul.
God damn it.
But I think it's interesting that they're making some different plays with Windows 10, and I like doing development work. Bringing Bash to Windows, I think, could unify. Like right now, a lot of people have a gaming PC, and they might have some other PC, a Linux or Mac laptop for development work. I think they're probably trying to unify that and make Windows 10 that one-stop shop where you do your gaming, you do development, you can do all the different things, and the only way they can do that is by becoming more friendly to the kind of platform features that people like on other platforms.
All right.
And I've said this many times, but they will pry Windows 7 out of my cold dead hands, which is probably I'm just gonna wake up one day and it's just gonna have.
You will accidentally upgrade to Windows 10.
I know.
They are already some of that stuff.
I know it's happening.
Man,
I know.
People accidentally clicking upgrade, and then it's done. There's no going back.
I'm not. I've been successfully been very careful with that, but we'll see. I know it's
one of these days you'll hit the space bar accidentally at the wrong time.
I know.
You'll have Windows 10.
Oh god. All right. In other quick hit news, Dark Souls 3 speedrun record has already been set, and right now the current time is under 2 hours. Now again, this game's not even available in the US, and I'm assuming, again, I don't know. I think the speed run time was set by somebody in Japan, but again, I'm just judging from the name. Don't call me a racist. Jung Ho Min. He managed to beat the game in a fraction, in 1 hour 42 minutes and 10 seconds for Dark Souls 3, which seems pretty impressive.
It's not even out in the U.S.
It's not even out in the U.S. though. So, which is apparently PC Gamer had reported on a couple days earlier. Oh, he had a previous world record of 156.10 only 2 days earlier. So I guess the same guy. He broke his own record by quite a bit of time. So there you go.
That is crazy stuff.
That's pretty cool. He's running time against himself. But Katie's not here to just gush over this news because I know he's a huge Dark Souls fan. But it's pretty cool. I love watching Dark Souls speedruns, even though I don't really play the franchise every time.
I just watch it and I just know I'd get.
I can appreciate
like
the level
10 minutes
of
or
skill.
something.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like that, it's amazing to me how quickly incredible speedruns get set even after a game launches. I mean, the game is only out in like one territory, and it's only been out for a little while now, and already there's like a world-class speedrun time for that game. And I'm sure, I mean, it's only going to get faster, but like that's just amazing to me that any game coming out now, it's like there's an incredible, unbelievable speedrun like within a few weeks.
It is pretty unreal, and I think we're gonna see nothing but more and more speedruns as the community grows as well. So I'm excited to see once it gets to our territory, just how what we have to offer and like how fast we do it and stuff like that. So
yeah, I'm being told. Chat's telling me that that sounds like a Korean name, or he's South Korean. I don't have the actual data here, but there you go. I'll just defer to chat. Chat's never wrong, so just assume that that's what it is. All right, let's get into some new releases here. This kind of goes hand in hand though with what we were talking about earlier with the April Fool's stuff.
Yeah, this is a great April Fool's joke. Yeah, this is the best type of April Fool's joke here.
Yeah. So Super Truck is super hot, but with trucks, and basically that was. Developers of Super Hot put out this on April 1st, this game called Super Truck, and it's actually something that you can download for free. That exists, and it actually turns out that it's actually an ad kind of for a game that's going to be coming out called called Cluster Truck.
Yeah.
Called Cluster Truck, yeah, by Landfall Games, and but the actual I haven't played the Super Truck April Fool's joke game, but it actually watching the trailer it looks incredible. It looks really cool actually.
Yeah, it's
kind of like a runner kind of game.
It was like an April Fool's joke, except it's a real thing that you can play, and it's like, haha, that's kind of funny, but it's actually a real game. So that's the greatest type of April Fool's joke. Like, make something that actually brings joy to someone's day instead of just like, faking that you're pregnant.
Right. Exactly. Oh, wow.
Is that a joke you got?
Speaking from personal experience.
No. I'm just saying that's like a common thing. Like, haha, I got pregnant, or like, haha, we're engaged. And I think I saw something on my Facebook feed that was like someone had gotten engaged, and then I think like, again, a lot of people just logging into Facebook, they're not thinking about the date, and so they just like I think there were a lot of like congratulations messages, all sorts of like, high praise, people happy, and then afterward they have to say like, oh, actually we're not, like, it was April Fool's, and thanks for like everyone's support, but we're actually not getting married. And it's just like,
if you do, honestly, if you are somebody that actually does that, you just need to stop. Like, you need to get your life together. Like, you are mentally sick in the head if you're doing the fake engage. I'm just gonna say, I didn't have any of my friends actually do that, but honestly, like, get a fucking life.
It just makes me like, why do you want to bring all of that work on yourself?
Yeah,
that's so much work undoing this stupid thing that you did.
Validation, Brad, to see how many people would actually fall for it and then be happy. I guarantee you, it's fucking retarded.
That's gross.
Anyway, yeah, it's gross.
But anyway, Super Truck, not gross, and I'm going to play this game because the trailer is actually pretty great.
Yeah, the trailer is fantastic. Obviously, if you're an audio listener, you cannot see it. I don't know really. Obviously, it's the same mechanic as obviously once you move, nothing moves unless you move. But it kind of and you basically just try to stay alive on top of the trucks.
Yeah,
right.
You're just like jumping on top of trucks, and there's like there's like a swinging wrecking ball thing, and so you have to kind of avoid the wrecking ball. It just looks like such a cool thing to probably spend like 10 or 15 minutes with.
Yeah, definitely really cool looking, but also a cool way to do it, and a little bit of advertisement for cuck trucks, or I'm sorry, what is it called? Cluster trucks. Sorry. Cuck trucks is a dream of development project of mine that'll probably never get off the ground. But I'll just give it a real quick synopsis. You're in the back of a truck getting cucked. And that's about it. I don't really have much more than that, but no studio.
I thought it was going to be like a line of food trucks or something.
Oh no, actually not. But
no one would want to eat that.
yeah, I don't think that would work for food trucks. Enter. Okay. So anyway, that's out. So if you want to play that free game, I'm assuming you can still download it. I think you can.
Yeah.
Enter the Gungeon is a bullet hell dungeon crawler. Follow a band of misfits seeking to shoot, loot, dodge, roll, and table flip their way to personal absolution by reaching the legendary Gungeon's ultimate treasure, the gun that can kill the past. That was all one sentence. It comes out April 5th, which is tomorrow. Yes, Tuesday. No, Monday. What am I talking about? Tomorrow's Monday. So there you go.
April 5th would be Tuesday, my friend.
Would it be? Why does it say that it is? Is my clock correction off? That's a joke for my chat. Why does it tell me right now? Oh, because it is. It's because it's 12 o'clock. Okay, it's 12:04. That's what really threw me off. Damn, we are into Monday. That is Tuesday. I was like, wait, what? The games are releasing on Monday? Did I miss it?
In the KBMOD podcast, we learn how time works.
Right? Exactly. Did not realize it was 12 o'clock already. Well, I got to go, guys, so have a good time. Yes. But anyway, looks kind of cool. Cool,
yeah, I think people have been playing this. I actually didn't realize it wasn't already out because I'd heard some about it before. Maybe they were in early access or had a Kickstarter or something. But it looks pretty cool. People seem to enjoy this game.
Yep. So you can check that out on Tuesday. Quantum Break. The huge. I guess we could call this like a flagship game for.
It is.
For
I mean, it is. Yeah.
Xbox One.
It's definitely a flagship game for Microsoft's own studios, for sure. So apparently, I think if you buy the Xbox version, you get the PC version for free. So I actually wasn't even. I don't think I was even able to find a PC pre-order page because I think you can only you basically have to buy it on Xbox One, and you just also get the PC copy.
Okay. I'll wait and see what people say about it. It has some interesting.
I'm not gonna break my Windows Store cherry for this until I see how the game is.
Agreed. But get in on the hype on Tuesday. All right. Okay. So these are actually today. Bunch of games coming out. A Legend of Luca, which is basically a VR Zelda-like experience, I guess. Right. It's just what it looks like, at least in the videos.
Yeah. I just wanted to say there are a ton of VR games coming out this week. Like when I was looking at the new releases, there had been 20 plus at least. So definitely keep your eye out on that. But I picked this one out because it reminded me of just some kind of like dungeon crawler. You had a sword and you broke pots and you got rupees by the looks of it. Yep. So it was like seriously Legend of Zelda like. So I thought that was awesome. So
looks like it'd be really fun in VR. Like the trailer's really cool. Like walking around the room and doing stuff.
I like how the Steam page now for VR support tells you, it says it requires a play area of at least 2 meters by 1.5 meters. That's kind of neat.
That's neat that it actually gives you the dimensions. Oh my. Okay, Brad, what is Honeycam Studio? Go ahead and wow.
Don't act like you haven't seen this game before.
I have not seen this actually. Okay, is this VR as well or no?
Well,
I
expect this to be another banned Twitch game you're going to try and play, but
it does look like it.
Now taking bets.
Yes.
It's basically from the people that made Honey Pop, but it's about being a cam girl.
Yeah, this is definitely not going to make it on Twitch, just judging from. Well, actually, I don't know. I shouldn't say. At least in the trailer, looks a little bit questionable, Brad. I mean, have you played Honey Pop? I've never even heard of Honey Pop, and I've never played it. So
no, but it's players take control of a sleazy cam girl operation. Rake in stacks of filthy internet money, attract as many disgusting fans as you can in a fast-paced, click-happy, and thoroughly perverted take on the business tycoon management sim genre.
It does look like pretty solid.
Scott.
Yeah, I mean, all those words. Disgusting, click-happy, thoroughly perverted.
I am happy that they threw this line in, though. Courtesy warning. The sexual themes in this game are mostly for fun and humor and don't make for particularly great fapping material.
Yes, they did actually have that.
That's a pretty good warning. I imagine they're probably looking to stave off refunds.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, couldn't nut to this game, sending it back. Basically.
Contract up to 6 horrific STDs, including
Oh my-
chlamydia, syphilis, and gonorrhea.
I mean, if you're
Or
gonna
just-
if you're gonna be a management sim
Yeah,
about this business, that seems accurate.
I will say though, it seems to be a little slanted in the side that they think the whole cam girl angle is like something that people shouldn't pursue. I mean, kind of speaking like degradingly about the profession. I'm not gonna lie, and I don't know if everyone would agree with that, but not saying me, but you know,
Just watch
purchase
for APL's stream.
yeah, purchase sex toys and other kinky accessories to aid the girl's performance and boost viewership. There you go.
Why is it just girls?
That's true too. Why are there no? Yeah, there's no. It doesn't seem like there are any male characters in this game. But there you go, Honeycam. You can get it tomorrow. I know. I know some people in this chat will be playing a lot of that game. I won't name any names. But all right. Tilt Brush by Google comes out. There's no release date on this. Just in April.
It just said April, but I thought it was worth mentioning that another like paint.
Cool.
I don't know. It's by Google, so I would imagine
Basically, it lets you
part,
paint in
it's a
3D
solid
space
release,
with virtual
yeah.
reality. Yeah, looks pretty neat.
So I thought it looked sweet. So there's that.
what's
And
the
then
last- yeah.
this one's been in development for a while. You guys might remember these guys. You remember Freddie Wong is his name from Rocket Jump?
Yeah, the YouTube guy.
Yeah, him and his some friends I think started this dev company, or his old friends at least, and they made this game called Hover Junkers. It's a basically I don't know, it looks very Borderlands-ish.
Yeah.
With
Very cartoony.
and you basically build this like hovering junk fort that you drive around and try and shoot other people to get their loot and things like that. And it's a room experience, but you
It's really
build
fucking
your
cool.
yeah, it's really sick. And I've watched some gameplay from them, and it's super intense just from even watching it. So I can't imagine how cool it is just even playing it. So
It's exciting. I mean, I guess the exciting thing too, because again, I don't know how quickly I'm going to adopt VR, like mostly because of the price point and stuff like that. But it is. I mean, to see already, like it's so early, like so many really cool looking experiences come out already.
There were
It's
like
going to get crazy in the
3
next couple years.
When I was looking at the Steam like coming soon page for this week, there were like 3 pages of games releasing this
on
week.
VR. Yeah.
And that I didn't put 2 and 2 together until we talked about it here, but yeah, it's like they must be mostly VR games because like you hardly ever see that many games launching in 1 week on Steam, like 3 pages of games.
Yep. Exactly. It's happening. VR. We're becoming. I'm trying to think. I don't know. Like, what's a movie that we're like everyone's going to be wearing headsets in the future or whatever, like from the 80s or 70s. But I mean, I don't think we're necessarily going to be
Just
there.
some
But in the
future
next
punk stuff.
Yeah,
I think we're getting closer.
there.
We're getting closer to a reality where you will see VR headsets in the wild, like like at a theme park or something else. Like you'll see people wearing headsets as part of an experience, but they're not going to be like walking around with it on.
No,
it's just going to be like
sure.
you'll probably see it.
No, you're already wrong
experimented.
about that.
Am I?
No. Yeah, so I've seen people with Gear VR like waiting at the bus stop, like walking around
Oh my
playing.
God.
Yeah, but see
Playing VR stuff.
I think that's the thing that will not happen. Those people will be ousted and shamed because that's like I don't think society's ready for that yet.
Yeah,
I don't think society's ready for this honey pop cam game, but that's not stopping anyone. So
Actually, maybe that's why people are on VR. Like when you want to watch some porn on the train, can't really do it on your phone, but in VR, no one else.
It's going to
can
be
see
real
it.
awkward to watching the guy in front of you just groping at invisible breasts with his VR. Like that's a world I don't really want to live in.
Well,
but
maybe you don't bring the hand controllers on the train.
it's gonna like we're joking, but it's going to be an experience, especially with
it'll
like
be a
sex
thing.
addicts and stuff. There's gonna be some
yeah.
real fucked up shit going on with VR on.
But you're
like,
never
the
gonna
trains.
know. You're never gonna know. They're gonna be normal, well-adjusted looking people, and they're going to be watching filthy, awful stuff on public transportation.
You're gonna know because their dick's gonna be out. But yeah, for the people that can keep it in their pants, I guess not. But watching a guy on the plane flicker his tongue with VR. Oh no. Oh, it's
this
happening.
is yeah. Actually,
But even
this
if
is
it's not out in
concerning.
the wild, but the whole idea that like in the next, I think maybe 5 years or even less, like it's going to be just standard to have an affordable
I
VR
could
headset in your
definitely,
home.
yeah. Well, I could
for
definitely see
experience.
like even like the Gear VR as it becomes more common
Yeah.
for it to kind of work with phones. I could see a not too distant future where people have like a Gear VR or equivalent in their backpack or something,
Sure.
and they use it on a plane or
Yep.
somewhere else that you wouldn't traditionally think to like be sitting there playing a game.
Yeah. So there you go. That's the new releases. We do have two announcements to make. We talked about this before the cast, but we will talk about it right now as well. The KBMOD A T-shirt campaign is live and has been live, and I think we sold like 9 so far. So that's good. But the thing is, guys, this is only going to be printed once, so you're going to want to get in, and it's only at $19.99 again. That's in the U.S. So it's an affordable shirt.
You can also get, if for some reason you want a hoodie, you can get a hoodie
Yes.
for $40.
Well, there
The
you go.
t-shirts are 20. But yeah, the campaign is going on for 2 more weeks.
Until April 17th. So
Yes, April
That's the time.
17th.
sorry,
And
I can't speak today.
and so you can go to teespring.com/twitch/KBModA. And if you don't know how to spell KBModA, then you're probably not going to buy this shirt. But if you would like one, I know I will. I'm buying one. My wife requested one. So if you're a listener or a lurker and you want a shirt with a distorted version of my face on it, this is your chance.
Get it. Do it. I've already ordered mine. Cannot wait till it gets here. So
And one more KB mod announcement is
Yes.
Battlefield Nights are back. They're hosted by community member Copper Tank. He's gonna stream it on our channel every Saturday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. Just meet in our Discord. You're gonna be able to play with some of us, and I'll be there. I'll try to be there every time. But it's super fun. We usually jump in a server, like an empty server, and we fill them up real quick. So it's a blast with everybody in Discord. So Saturdays, 9 p.m. Eastern.
there you go. All right. And we are now going to get into viewer questions. And Yingity Yang, the nicest Canadian you will ever meet, believe me, he really is the nicest, ask us, since we live in a world where a quote-unquote chocolate caramel muffin exists, I must ask, at what point does a muffin become a cupcake? Oh, boy. Wow. Here we go with the food questions.
Well, to me, a
Yes.
cupcake is with frosting, right?
I think
Yes.
that feels right to me. Like
I think so,
I
too.
think frosting is the line because if I think about, I mean, muffin batter typically is a little different. Like cupcakes are usually kind of flakier and lighter, whereas a muffin is normally a little more dense because it's normally like a breakfast item. So I think, but muffin and cupcake batter is similar, but I feel like you're never going to see a muffin with frosting. That feels like it crosses the line to cupcake.
Okay.
Any debate? I mean that. I don't think
accept
I've ever seen a muffin with frosting on it.
I've never seen a muffin like that. I do think they're getting more cupcake-like. I know at
Yeah,
least
that's true.
my stores, like this guy is right, where chocolate caramel muffin, that is a normal occurrence where I have chocolate chip muffins at my store, and they're almost like eating a cupcake. They're so sweet.
Yeah, so I got this is. It looks like this is a Starbucks item, and this does look like it's getting close to a cupcake. It has some sort of caramel, kind of maybe on the inside. But yeah, like this feels dangerously close. This feels like Starbucks trying to pull one over on you.
It's the frosting.
Yeah.
I think it's frosting.
Yeah, I think it is the frosting because Starbucks could not get away with this if there was frosting on it at all. But I mean, really, a muffin. I think a muffin is like, at what point are you not going to want to eat it for breakfast? I don't think people are going to want frosting for breakfast, which is why most companies
Well.
don't venture into the cupcake space.
There you
Frosted
are with those
Pop-Tarts,
assumptions again, man.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, look, I'm not a marketing expert, but this just feels this feels dangerous to me. It's like chocolate caramel muffin. What is the next? I agree here. Like, what is the purpose of
Yeah.
this?
Where do you? Yeah. I mean,
If
it's
you-
it's
if
the
you're the
slippery
type of
slope
person-
argument. Yeah.
Like, listen, if you're the type of person that you're getting a chocolate caramel muffin at Starbucks, that tells me that like you're probably trying to cheat on your diet or something. Because like
Yeah.
there's no other reason you would get a chocolate caramel muffin.
Yeah.
It's like you get it because it's called a muffin, and like, you know, if it was called a cupcake, you'd feel really bad about it.
That's true. Right. Especially, yeah, for breakfast. Yeah.
But it's
Totally
a 410 calorie muffin. So
Damn. Oh man. All right. Well, good question, Yingity. But again, I think the frosting. Brad nailed it right off the bat. Frosting has to be the separation there. All right. So from Connor, the third, or Connor with I don't know exactly.
Connor Ill, maybe.
Connor Ill, maybe. I don't know how but he asked us. I got this weekend, and I will describe what this is in a moment.
please describe. Yes.
He said, "What is your favorite piece of memorabilia that you have gotten, signed or nah?" So it is a picture of Guy Fieri from Diner, Drive-Ins, and Dives, signed. I'm assuming by Guy for Connor. So nice little piece of memorabilia right
I
there.
think the message. I'm trying to read the message.
It says
Shorties.
Shorties.
Oh,
Oh,
it says Shooties.
I think it's Shorty's Pizza and smoked meat.
Yes, I think so.
Something I can't read
Keep
the end.
cooking.
Oh, keep cool. Keep
Does it
cool.
say, oh, keep. I thought it said keep cash, but I think you're right. I think it's
No.
keep cool.
It's keep cool. Yeah, by Guy. There it is.
Wow.
What a beautiful piece of memorabilia. I was trying to think about this because I saw this question earlier. I don't know if I really, memorabilia wise, if I really have anything that I'm like super. Even looking around in my office.
Yeah, I don't really have anything that that.
So if you guys are not plebs and video watchers, you might be able to see this. Normally, you can see my signed Blink-182 posters in the back there.
That's cool.
Yes.
Both of those are signed by the band, pre Tom DeLonge being an ass. And then, but yeah, those are signed. I guess that's my favorite piece of.
I have I actually behind me. This is like the only thing I can think of that if I lost it or it got destroyed, I would be like slightly upset. I have one of the signed Blacklight Retribution posters that's signed by the whole dev team, and I
cool.
think that's really cool. And I also have a Doom art print, and it's not signed or anything, but that's like just one of the things that I like. I guess you consider that memorabilia, sort of.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, I basically keep I keep all the lanyards from every event I've ever been to, and
Oh, yeah, I
like
do that
badges
too.
and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And I mean, again, that's not necessary. And then a lot of times, even last time, I guess PAX Prime, my girlfriend actually took it upon herself, but she got it signed by like all the KBMOD people and the people that came to the meetup, and they signed the badge and stuff. I thought that was really cool. So I have a bunch of those kind of things.
Yeah,
but as far as like,
I do keep those. Yeah.
yeah, and pins and stuff like that. Other than that, though, I don't really have like, as far as like by celebrities or whatever. I've had a few things here and there. I have something signed by Mini Me from Machinima because he came in and he beat me in NBA
That's right.
2K15. Like I have a few things like that, but I don't really have any like celebrity stuff that I would be like bummed about if I lost. So
We have in chat Darkwing02 says his favorite piece
Oh, I
of
know what
memorabilia
this
is
is.
he has a signed copy of Dishonored for PC
yes,
that is signed by everyone in KBMOD.
I remember signing that. I do.
The disc is signed as well. I think it is.
It is. The disc is signed as well. Yeah, it's pretty
Oh,
fantastic.
that was good. That was good.
I mean, again, game of the year that year. So
Yeah, that's going to be worth a lot someday.
so
Maybe when the servers are back up.
God.
Anyways, sorry.
All right. There you go. So anyway, not too many questions this week, but two good ones.
Well, we had to keep the questions light because
did.
we have a heavy dose of podcast review this week. We have
Exactly.
another double shot review.
Yes.
And so we mentioned last week that we were going to break. Last week was the first time we broke our one review per cast rule. And so it seems a few people took that to heart because we got several reviews this week. So thank you for the several people that left reviews. We had some honorable mentions from someone named KBMOD A. That seems like a very unusual name to have, unless perhaps you changed your name legally to that. Otherwise, I'll assume that's an alias. And Leadface also left us a review. So thank you to both of you guys. I should mention that anyone can leave us a review. We go through each week and we read each review. As long as you give us 5 stars, that's the most important part. But we read all sorts of things. I think, as you'll see today, sometimes getting through them can be an experience.
Oh man, these two.
Yeah, we definitely see a wide range of world experiences here in the review section. So you never know what you're going to get, but we would love to hear your story in the review section. So go to iTunes, search KBMOD. We're the first and generally only result that pops up, and leave us a review, and you might also be featured on a future cast. So Scott, I'd like you to take it away with our double dose reviews.
This is going to be so rough to get through, but all right, let's do it. All right, so our first review is titled "Take It from Oliver Gina" by Oliver Gina. All right, and this is a bit of a story.
Must be I don't know what nationality that
Yes.
that name is. Gina. I can't
Gina.
really tell.
Not sure. Jyna. So.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. This is the story. I used to listen to the podcast with my pop, Vern Gina, who I proudly take my middle name from. We listened together for years before he fell into the console abyss. I simply can't take any more pod hate from APL Fisher. The gloves are off. Sorry to go third person, but Oliver V. Gina is hot and bothered after evening Zumba. APL Fisher, you think you can handle Oliver V. Gina? You can't. Come at me, bro. Come hard. Oliver Gina can take a pounding and still keep coming. I listen to the cast with my boss, Mr. Uthole. With my boss, Mr. Uttle now. Don't think he would mind me sharing his first name, Herb. You can't fight a war on two fronts. Oliver V. Gina in the front and Herb Uthole in the rear. You're only one man. Don't let APL Fisher's snarky ways steer you astray, my friends. KBMOD podcast isn't a short experience by any means, but make no doubt, KBMOD fills Oliver V. Gina and Herb Uthole with the whimsy and wonderment that only they can, but it takes time. KBMOD doesn't finish until Oliver V. Gina and Herb Uthole are satisfied. So just lay back, relax, and take it all in. They're here to please. Oh, God damn it. Oh,
Wow.
Oh, all right. That's from Oliver Gina. What a review.
That is quite a story.
Quite a story, quite a tale, quite a challenge, really, to me.
Yeah, he doesn't seem pleased with you at all.
No, definitely upset. I don't know what I ever did to deserve this, but there you go. Oh,
It's interesting though that he listens to the cast with his boss. I think a lot of people,
yes.
they would
Uthole.
probably be a little wary to listen to this in their place of employment. Because sometimes it can be explicit, or sometimes you might burst out laughing. But
Exactly.
he apparently enjoys this cast with his boss. So
Absolutely.
that's
Gave
great.
5 stars. Glad he enjoys it with his boss, Mr. Herb Buttle. All right. This next one is going to be... All right. This next one, another good review, is titled A Great Load of Fun. And it is by Coleman Cider. Coleman Cider. Oh, God. Coleman Cider. All right. And Coleman Cider writes, Jesus. All right. He writes, I am a cream pie enthusiast, and I enjoy making cream pies daily. Every Sunday, I wake up welling with anticipation for the festivities that is the KBMOD podcast that intermittently airs on 10 p.m. Eastern. Anyway, Sunday nights are when I can usually combine my two favorite hobbies, making cream pies and listening to the KBMOD podcast. In this review, I would like to share some of my favorite parts and segments of the podcast. One of my favorite parts of the podcast is actually the pre-podcast, where the gang makes lighthearted conversation in a casual environment. I guess I like it because it's a little tease of what's to come, and it rouses a bit of pre-cream out of me. Jesus Christ.
Is that a baking term?
Yeah, I think it's a baking term. This person is a baker. All right. I guess, I'm sorry. Another highlight are the questions because it is a space where the podcast members and audience can interact, and it usually leads to funny questions/responses. And finally, but least, when the traditional yata is spoken, this is where it finishes. I end up making the biggest and creamiest batch of the week that can feed my wife and kids for the next couple of days. Oh no. Anyway, I just want to thank the KBMOD podcast family for being my muse and inspiring me to reach my cream pie potential. Oh, and who knows, maybe I can even open a bakery of my own someday. If that does happen, a cream pie's on me, guys. Keep up the great work. And again, that is from Coleman Cider. Oh, wow. 2 just incredibly stellar reviews this week.
Wow, Coleman, an aspiring baker.
It's good to see that, maybe one day we'll be able to eat that or see that cream pie. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that the bakery gets open.
I think I actually spit on my monitor.
Yeah. I will say that people definitely took your call to action, Brandon. Another, like you said, double review this week.
Yeah. Oh, and like I said, it's amazing to me to hear the stories of our listeners. And we have who would have thought we have an aspiring baker listening to the podcast. And
yeah,
the podcast giving him his biggest cream of the week.
Can you say biggest cream of the week one more time, Brandon? I need it.
I can't. I don't think I'm physically able to.
Okay, that's fine. I'll just clip what I've already heard. All right. All right. Well, great job, guys, and keep it up. Again, now that we have opened this up for multiple reviews if they are good enough. And this week we had so many good reviews, we had to pick 2. So, we selected the two best ones we felt. But so definitely keep those reviews coming. Keep rating 5 stars, and potential to be on here with. I love it when it's a story. I feel like the story. When people tell their personal story, Brandon, those are the ones that really reach us, I think.
Yeah, no, they really do. Yeah, that's it. It's always just amazing to hear what how people experience the podcast, how it affects their life. And we're bringing a man and his boss closer. We're bringing a man and his cream pie closer. I mean, it's why we do this each week.
It is. So, if you guys want to check out more KBMOD content, obviously go over to kbmod.com. We've got the hardware builds on there. We've got, did KD release? I know he's working on a Dark Souls 3 thing. Is that right, Brad? So yes. I know it's not out yet, but he's working on that. So again, for content like that, definitely check out kbmod.com. You can follow KBMOD Gaming at KBMOD Gaming. I am at APL Fisher. Brad is at Hutchison15. Brandon is at 1111. No, I'm not going to do that meme anymore. Brandon is at Volition, VOL1TION on Twitter. And the cast will be back next week with episode 231. Wow, 231. Good Lord. So it was a fun one, guys. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week. Farewell.
See ya.